Hello, this is Anthony Smith with PAF 311 Leadership Interview Project. And with us today is Karen Marquez. Now, Karen, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and what position you hold?
I am the marketing director for the Programming and Activities Board on the Tempe location.
What is it that you do as marketing director specifically for PAB?
Specifically, my whole purpose is to effectively market and promote all of the events that the organization puts on.
And how does that fall into PAB's total mission statement, goal, or vision?
PAB's mission statement is basically to provide diverse events and activities for students. Like I said, we have a very diverse location and campus, so we try to cater to all those different interests of the students, whether it be like comedy shows or poetry slams, live music, and a bunch of different things like that.
As a student organization, a lot of your peers are students, right?
Mm-hmm.
How often are you finding yourself delegating tasks and such like that?
Well, being that my position is director, I am often delegating tasks to my assistant directors, and occasionally my intern.
Now, who do you have a director or someone that you answer to?
Well, above me would be there are other directors of other departments, and then above me would be the executives, and above them would be the advisors who are not students necessarily, except for one who is like a master's student. But
do you find that there's ever power dynamic in that? Like, is there ever a problem with disputed communication from your advisors to you, and then in turn you to your interns, or how you delegate in your team?
I would say that whole process is pretty fast. It's just a matter of my advisor or my executive just asking something of me, and then me just turning around and asking my assistant director, my intern, or anyone in my team.
So you don't necessarily have any problems with communication then?
Not really. I mean, our whole organization, one of the expectations is to, one of the things with communication is to answer emails within a 48-hour time frame. So that's kind of helped like solidify the expectations for communication and to make that faster.
Professionalism in the business place is very important, but seeing as it's a student organization, and assumingly students are learning, do you find that the professional way of emailing, typing things up, typefacing is the best way to go?
It depends on the situation, but if it's just a quick question, I have the freedom to just text my executive or an advisor just with a quick question. It doesn't necessarily have to be a long formatted professional email with like a greeting and a signature and all that stuff. That's not necessary.
So do you find like this is maybe more candid? You're not having to add a signature and the typeface. It'd be much easier, say, just to text your intern or your advisor as opposed to emailing them?
Yeah, I mean, it would, like I said, if it's just a quick question, I would be more willing and able to just shoot a text message instead of formatting a whole email. But emails do come in handy when you're looping in several people and outside vendors and third-party people and stuff like that. So, and that, of course, comes with more professional style of communicating. But again, with a simple question, I can just send a quick text and get an almost immediate response.
Now, a big part of being a leader is tying in everyone's different objectives and unifying them to the shared vision, in this case, PAB's. Have you ever found that your communication, your leadership ended up leading you to a negative situation? Like, have you had someone who didn't fit?
Yeah, actually, when I first started with PAB, I had an assistant director of graphic design, specifically, and throughout the first couple months, even before that, during summer and the first couple months of school, we were kind of seeing that she wasn't really like catching on to the vision and having our
shared vision.
Right. Yeah, she wasn't really sharing our vision. So on several occasions, I had to sit down with her and ask her, hey, is there anything that you need? Is there anything I could do for you to kind of help you kind of share the vision with us. And it ended up just being that PAB wasn't the thing for her, and we had to let her go. But
And during the process of, of course, observing that this was something that needed to be handled, did you communicate steps towards her to try to, bridge this communication of vision gap?
I mean, yeah, we kind of took steps at first. Of course, I kind of asked her how she was feeling with the organization, if she felt overwhelmed or anything. And I kind of explained to her that I was sitting down with her because of the fact that she wasn't sharing the vision and she wasn't communicating effectively. And so I kind of took steps in that way. And then eventually my executive had to step in and say, if you don't communicate with us, like, respond to this email with, like, certain expectations by this certain date, we're going to have to let you go. And it ended up that just communication, like, fell through on that.
And would you consider that a failure to lose a teammate?
I would say
even
so.
Even if they don't fit?
I would say so, just because personally for me it would be a failure, just because, like, that was my assistant director and I felt it was kind of my duty to kind of get everybody on board with the vision, and I felt like it was a failure for me personally.
All right. Seeing that you're a marketing director, I'm sure you deal with lots of medias, and seeing this as a college campus, I'm assuming social media is a very big part of that. Do you guys implement those types of medias?
Social media?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually have an assistant director who is in charge of social media. She takes care of the Twitter and Instagram handles, and I do Facebook. So those are the 3 primary platforms that we use.
Do you ever have any medias that come outside the box on you, like anything that maybe even old medias that you maybe stopped using and tried to use again and it's worked out for you?
Yeah, actually recently we created a video for Devils on Mill, which is one of our biggest events, which is a tailgating event for all the home football games. And we created a promotional video for that because it is such a large event and we would want to get a bigger audience of people to show up to that. So we thought a video would be beneficial, and it ended up being a lot more beneficial than we expected because we received national attention and we got an award for that campus tradition event video.
Well, congratulations.
So thank you.
I'd assume you guys took that as a win then?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you guys have many wins? Do you guys have long-term goals, I'm sure, but do you have short-term wins?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, the main goal, the long-term goal is to create memories for students and to create events that are worthwhile and that are fun for the student body. But, of course, short-term goals would be successful events, I would say. And afterwards, if we always celebrate an event, no matter if it had a lot of people, a little bit of people, like, every event was there, as long as our like idea of is, as long as we got a couple people to come out, have a good time, it was worth it.
Very positive.
Yes.
And do you find that, taking these successes and acknowledging them and then, looking to everyone and being like, we did it, like, does that instill the motivation, willpower to continue rolling that success, do you find?
Yeah, definitely. For example, we had a Devilpalooza committee. Devilpalooza is the large concert that we have in the spring. We have a Devilpalooza committee who puts in countless hours and a bunch of time to create this giant event for all of the ASU students, for not only the Tempe location, but for all the locations. And after the event, after all of our events, we have a debriefing and we talked about the good and the bad. And at the end of it, I spoke up and I said I would really like to show my appreciation and I think speak on behalf of all of the staff and say thank you to the Devilpalooza committee for putting in the hard work. And I think that's going to help. That kind of makes them feel fulfilled for their work that they put in, and then also kind of encourage participation in the committee in the future.
Yeah, I'm sure they appreciated that.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Karen. We're going to have to cut it off here, I'm afraid, but thank you for sharing.
Yes, you're welcome.
It's been a pleasure.
Same.